Bitcoin has rocketed up over 15% this week alone, and is now up over 150% year over year. What exactly is causing these parabolic price moves? We're going to go over all the factors that are converging to build a perfect storm for Bitcoin heading into 2024. But it's also important not to let the bullishness distract us from the darkness on the horizon, as the Treasury Department, with the help of big bankers like Jamie Dimon, mount its attack against broader Bitcoin adoption in the US. Secure your keys and batten down the hatches. These two perfect storms are about to clash. What's up, YouTube? I'm Hurley, and today we're talking about two Bitcoin perfect storms approaching from either side. Let's start on the crazy bullish price action we've been seeing. What exactly is causing these moves? Of course, the most simple answer is that there are currently more buyers than sellers in the market. And since we know a higher demand in Bitcoin doesn't lead to more supply, this means the price moves up. While logical, this doesn't satisfy most people. So let's dig into what might be causing more people to be exchanging their fiat for Bitcoin right now. I'll get the obvious one out of the way first. Clearly, the incoming ETF approvals have been getting a lot of attention lately. This is likely leading existing holders and perhaps even new entrants and institutions to front-run the eventual capital that flows in once these ETFs begin trading, presumably sometime in early 2024. The current estimate for how much capital these ETFs could bring into Bitcoin range from 10 billion all the way to 200 billion over the next few years. Another interesting metric is to compare the price moves of gold post its ETF approval in 2004. Gold production increased massively in the years following the ETF approval as demand and price went up as a result. As we know, instead of increasing like gold, the Bitcoin production will be cut in half around April 2024 during the network's fourth halving event, which looks to be lining up perfectly with when these ETFs should begin trading. It doesn't take a mathematician to figure out what that means for price. How many of you want to see this exponential growth reflected in your traditional investment portfolio? How about the massive Bitcoin upside without the capital gains taxes? That's where the Swan Bitcoin IRA comes in. To benefit from Bitcoin in your IRA, all you need to do is set up an IRA with Swan, allocate real Bitcoin to it, allow it to appreciate over time with zero cap gains taxes, and enjoy your retirement. Go to swan.com/retire to learn more. Okay, so another reason for number go up could be the market preparing for an easing of monetary policy as metrics begin to point to a potential economic downturn or even a recession in 2024. Banks have been reeling since the highest interest rate hikes in history throughout the last year and a half, with some rumors that more bank failures could be on the way. Other metrics like unemployment rising and inflation rates coming down is leading certain experts to put the chances of interest rate cuts in 2024 at nearly 100%. The Fed has already paused hiking rates and has signaled that they may be done as the inflation rate comes closer to the 2% target. The market may be starting to price in the return of money printer go burr sometime soon. And of course, money printing is historically a very bullish catalyst for the Bitcoin price. And let's not forget, all signs point to us being at the very beginning of this bull run. Check out this tweet and chart by Checkmatey. He says, Bitcoin is trading around 44K, a level which was the absolute zenith of on-chain mania in January of 2021. Old hands were spending coins at huge profit multiples, lighting up the value days destroyed multiple by TXMC trades like a Christmas tree. Here we are at 44K and barely a squeak, not even at 2019 levels. Hodlers are not relinquishing their coins. They demand higher prices. Even with these huge gains throughout 2023, more than 70% of the total supply hasn't moved in over a year, as this hodl wave chart shows. This means that over 70% of the current circulating supply is either lost or being held by those that have no intention of selling until the price is much higher than it is. BlackRock and other ETF issuers are going to have to drive up the price a hell of a lot more than this to get the psychopaths to sell. But something does feel markedly different this time around, doesn't it? The sentiment and vibe is most definitely shifting. A great example is this clip from CNBC earlier this week, where Joe Kernan is grilling Aaron Ross Sorkin for not owning any Bitcoin yet.
But at 25, you were really saying this is way too. Now it's 42. You gotta eventually throw in the towel. What number where you'll say I believe in it? 100?
Well, I just think it's a very, because it's such a abstract concept that it's like a non-existent thing, even though I know it's a thing for some people. I think a lot of people look at it and go, maybe. I know it's a very philosophical
but
situation.
There's like, aren't there like six, you can describe why gold is worth. I mean, it's not because it's pretty, and it's not because it's used in jewelry. It's because it's immutable, it's cross-cultural, there's only so much around, and these are the characteristics of money since the beginning of time.
That's right. In 2023, we have a mainstream media host berating another for not owning any Bitcoin. It's also hilarious to watch Sorkin's body language in this clip. It's like even he is realizing how stupid his argument is. These fudsters, haters, and ignorant skeptics are starting to sound more and more ridiculous as time goes on. This brings us to Jamie Dimon's recent comments during testimony before the Senate Banking Committee.
Mr. Dimon, you've been CEO of JP Morgan for almost 2 decades. Can you explain why crypto is such an attractive financial tool for terrorists, drug traffickers, and rogue nations?
I've always been deeply opposed to crypto, Bitcoin, et cetera. You pointed out the only true use case for it is criminals, drug traffickers, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, and that is a use case because it is somewhat anonymous, not fully, and because you can move money instantaneously, and because it doesn't go through, as you mentioned, all these systems have been built up over many years, know your customers, sanctions, OFAC, they can get bypass all of that. If I was the government, I'd close it down.
It's remarkable to see how rudimentary Dimon's understanding of Bitcoin truly is. He actually seems to think the government can just shut it down like turning off a light switch. As we approach the 15th anniversary of the Genesis block, with the amount of information about Bitcoin that is available, how it works, why it exists, and what it means for humanity, these people are just going to look more and more foolish. Dimon's comment even received a complete smackdown via community notes on X, stating, "Less than 1% of the trillions transacted annually in crypto are illicit. The UN estimates that annually between 2% and 5% of global GDP, 800 billion to 2 trillion, is used for illicit activities and money laundering through the traditional banking system." This Dimon quote is also a sign of the monumental moment we're at in Bitcoin's history. As adoption and public understanding and acceptance begins to grow exponentially, the "then they fight you" stage begins to ramp up into overdrive. Elizabeth Warren and the US Treasury Department continue its warpath against Bitcoin full tilt through FinCEN's recent Patriot Act anti-privacy proposal.
There's a new threat out there. It's crypto, and it is being used for terrorist financing. It is being used for drug trafficking. North Korea is using it to pay for about half of its nuclear weapons program. We can't allow that to continue.
This tweet by Swan CTO Jan Pritzker says it better than I can. Senator Warren has repeatedly gone on an un-American assault on our basic rights. Using leading questions that are not backed by data and expert testimony proving her wrong, she continues to fight for the wrong side. Far from being an anti-bank warrior, she is happy to take billions in fines from the real money launderers, the traditional banks, and use it to fight against the most important freedom tech of our time. Shame, shame, shame. As the markets anticipate and front-run a perfect storm of adoption, the existing financial system begins to amass a storm of its own in an attempt to stop this emergent technology in its tracks before it swallows them whole. To learn more about FinCEN's policy proposal and how it's a gross overreach of your freedoms as Americans, as well as ways to fight against it, have a look at this thorough analysis and takedown by Preston Pish and those at Ego Death Capital. I'll leave a link in the description. So what do you think this converging of storms will look like in the coming years? Is this a serious threat to Bitcoin, or just the final death throes of an existing system being swallowed whole? Leave a comment with your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Like this video, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Also, check out my video from earlier this week on Bitcoin flipping gold's market cap this cycle, and the one from last week on the tidal wave of capital coming to Bitcoin. Until next time, Bitcoin is peace.